Hello, fellow Ag Nerd. This is just a quick update to let you know that I'm going to be taking a break from this podcast. I'm not going to be releasing any episodes for the next 6 weeks or so. Then I plan to return in July with some new episodes. So in the meantime, I'm still going to be recording content and thinking more about what the future of this show, what the future of agriculture should look like. Now, this is the first time in nearly 8 years of doing this podcast that I've taken a break. There's a lot of reasons for this, but if I were to try to sum them up briefly for you, the first is really practical. I don't have any content right this minute that I'm dying to share. I've always wanted the show to contribute to the conversation and not just be part of the noise, not just fill a slot. And I think it takes a lot of intentionality with which areas I choose to explore and to share. To varying degrees in the past, I have put content out there to maintain my consistency when it really didn't add a whole lot to the overall conversation. Just being honest with you, I'd like to be perfect at that, but I have not been. And I hope a break can help me right now to reset on what I care about with regard to where agriculture is headed and what can provide you as a listener the most value that's distinctly different than any of the other stuff you're going to hear out there or read out there or watch out there from others. Secondly, I've got a lot of personal and professional obligations over the next 6 weeks or so, and no sponsor for this quarter of the podcast, so it's just a really convenient time logistically to take a break. But also, I'm being honest here, I'm trying to avoid burnout. I think I've been on the brink of burnout several times over the 8-year life of this podcast and feel quite close to it right now. But I'm trying to be proactive and stay ahead of that so that the content can stay fresh, I can stay engaged and interested, and that we won't just be teetering on the brink of burnout here. A year or two ago, I would have never considered taking a break like this. Most of the time doing this podcast, it was extremely important to me to remain consistent. And the show was sort of built on consistency, always showing up once a week and making sure I have an episode. And I think that's really how you need to build a content business. But my thoughts on that have changed a little bit over the years. And while I still think consistency is really important, producing content just to keep a weekly cadence is just not something that's important to me, at least not anymore. It's apparent to me that this content game has evolved with just the amount of sources of information out there. And of course, AI is just going to continue to commoditize the information that you have access to. So as I'm thinking about that, if I want to continue to create via this podcast, it really has to be about a lot more than information. It's got to be more about connection, about vulnerability, and about unique points of view. So that's going to take a lot of thought and probably a lot of growing pains for me. But that's kind of the direction I'm hoping this podcast goes when I resume content here in July. In addition to the content game changing, really agriculture is continuing to change as well. That's not new. It's just something that the evolution continues. Some of that change is technological, and we explore a lot of ag tech on the show. But if I'm being honest, I don't know that I believe technology is changing the game near as much as I used to think. Much more of the significant change is around the economics, the farm economics, the value chain economics, the consumer economics of agriculture. And obviously, the trade and globalization are things we've talked about. My content has started to take on more of that in the last 18 months or so, but frankly, not as much as I would like. And so that's another thing I'm going to be thinking about during this break. So anyway, in the weeks that follow, I will not be releasing any more episodes. I will be recording episodes. I will be thinking a lot about this podcast, where it adds real value and to whom. And if you'd like to contribute to that thought process, I would sure love your feedback. If you want to answer that question, what unique value can the show have and to who, you can email me, tim@aggrad.com, on anything, on what you like about the show and what you don't like. I really have pretty thick skin about these things, so don't feel like you have to walk on eggshells or be nice. Just shoot me straight what you like, what you don't like. If you like a framework for that, the one I'm kind of using, at least right now, is sort of start, stop, continue. What that I haven't been doing, should I start? What that I have been doing, should I stop? And what that I have been doing, should I make sure I continue to not lose the essence of what makes this show valuable? Anyway, any and all feedback is welcome during this time. I will be available if you'd like to email me. You've got my email. I'm also going to set up a Calendly link that I'll link to in the show notes of this episode, where we can just hop on a 20-minute call and talk about the show. If you're a regular listener, I always want your thoughts, and some people would rather talk about it than write about it, and I'm all ears for that. So feel free to sign up for a 20-minute Zoom call via the Calendly link. Email me or find me via the DMs of LinkedIn or X. Anyway, thank you so much for your time and your attention. Thank you for caring about the show and the future of the show. I hope to hear from you in the next 6 weeks, and I hope you'll still be there when I come back, when I resurface with more episodes, and hopefully a refreshed and renewed, exciting vision for where this podcast goes next. Thanks so much for your time and your attention. I do not take it lightly. I'll be back in about 6 weeks with another story of ag innovation.